Good morning. Should be live now. Let me get my face up here. Perfect. Where's that? Keycaster. There we go. Okay. Cool. How you guys doing? Is it just me or am I flickering again? Oh, there we go. No, I'm not. I'm gonna go ping the Discord real quick. Hey, Hack with Siraj. There we go. Cool. I'll give it like let's wait. Hey Joppy and Milk. How you guys doing? I'll wait just a minute or two here and then I'll get started. Saba Bugs, welcome. I made this little agenda file here. Stuff I need to get to today. So I'm going to review a PR I got from on Discord. It's some person. I think in YouTube chat it's something else, like Risawe or something. And then there was a long discussion in the syntax channel on the Discord about some stuff that I want to go over as well. So we'll start with these two things and then hopefully get to some other stuff as well. So, but before that, I'm flickering again. So there we go. Okay. $40 more seconds. Five Nights at Freddy's. Do things flicker in that? I've never played it. By the way, is the sound okay? I'm a little stuffy. I'm a little bit sick, but otherwise the sound should be working all right. Sounds fine. Cool. All right, let's get started. So I'm gonna start with this PR. I kind of like skimmed it. It looks great, but maybe just double check some things just so you guys are kind of on board with what changed. How do I do this? Okay. So pull requests. Oh no, every once in a while my browser decides to not. See, my cursor isn't changing. Why does it do that? Oh well. Doesn't really matter. So it's function overloading for function calls and variable shadowing. The shadowing thing I think was literally like one line of code. And then function overloading is a little more complicated. Done by collecting all variables in order that could be referenced by a function call and resolving to the correct one. Okay. Has strict parameter type inference requirements, but that should not change anything. This also fixes the global/local allowed expressions by storing the level inside of a bool. Level instead of a bool. Not sure what this means, but we'll figure that out. And then one small improvement. Oh, this was like a suggestion, but then he went ahead and implemented it. So to not assume an overloaded function was shadowed by a variable if the variable is not the first one in its scope. Okay. Let's check it out. So, oh yeah, there's the contributor himself. Using a bool had the same problem as isMain earlier. That it was set to false incorrectly. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Let me make this a little bigger. Maybe one more. Okay. So this is like the magic line that made variable shadowing work, right? I think I'm right in that. Because basically when we define a new variable, it would stick it on the variables array. And then when we reference a variable, you just have it now look for the most recent one first as opposed to the one before. So that was that. Yep, reverse is the iterator. Yeah, so you're searching through it now in reverse order because it's reverse and then defined. Because this is like in some, yeah, in lookup variable. So that made that work. And then lookup variable all. So this is new. What's this? Fire name scope ID. Oh, okay. So it doesn't just return the first one, it takes all of them. So it literally is doing the same thing, but instead of returning the first one it finds, it returns all the ones it finds. Am I right on that? Looks like it. Gotcha. And then if there's a parent scope, then you append that too. So you're still traversing up the tree of scopes. This looks good. Yeah, that's great. Okay, then here we have some changes. Add variable. Okay, so this is for functions, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So what are you doing here? So this is if you're adding a variable and the kind is a function, let me just show this. Because this is unchanged. Okay, so if it's a function, then hey there, Hyperbanner and Anand Varma. For each arg, you're saying args dot what's args? Args is this thing, right? Okay, check function argument, yeah. Label is the label. The value is a checked expression. Perfect, okay. And then checks the argument types first, since they know the types no longer come from the function. Oh, gotcha. That does make sense. Because you need to check the types that are actually being passed to the function and then try to match that up with one of the function definitions. And if it doesn't, then throw a type error. But don't throw a type error until you've already checked all of them, correct? Is that what you're saying? So you need to check the types of the arguments. So these now you have some checked arguments. And then you have some numargs. So that's how many arguments you have. First, something. We'll find out soon what it is. Yeah, error stuff comes later. Gotcha. Our count errors, okay, type errors and label errors. So you just have these errors that I assume you're going to append to later. Whoa, whoops. There we go. Whoa. Is this a label? I've never used this once in Rust. I kind of didn't even know you could do this. That's pretty cool. Is there an inner too? Or why do you need the label there? Oh, there is. Yeah, so here's an outer loop, right? And then this is the inner loop. And so you need to break out of both of these loops. which is why you have the label there. Yeah, okay. Because this, if you just did a continue, it'd continue this loop, but you want to go all the way to the outer loop, which is from here. Gotcha. That makes sense. So you're looping through the var ID and the type ID and self. What is self? Oh, self is just, okay, these are all the variables and the types in the checker. Okay. You look up all the variables. Name. What is name? Name. Oh, here. Oh yeah, it's the name of the function. It's the name of the function. Okay, gotcha. Yep, and then starting in the current scope, right, and work your way up. Okay, or error. If you can't, if there's like literally nothing with this name, then yep. And then you pull out a scoped type from the types, and then ensure that it's a function type. So you have parameters and return type. Yep. Otherwise, what's first? Can you tell me what first is? Because you defined first here, right? Does first have to do with like the first one you find with this name? First is for the first iteration. If it is not a function, then the functions are considered shadowed. Oh, gotcha. Okay. So you say variable is not a function, and then otherwise you continue, and then you set first equal to false. That makes sense. Okay. You can change that if you want. No, this seems fine, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to pull this down, and probably some of it's going to end up getting changed at some point, but for now, I think it's good. And then you count the parameters. If you have the wrong number of parameters, you have an incorrect arg count error. That's good. And then, wait, where did old arg come from? Old arg? Oh, that's just what you're calling. Oh, because you're zipping together the parameters. Well, it's like a double zip. Parameters zipped with args and zipped with arguments. Which one's args and which one's arguments? So it's also easier to pull down. Args is the thing we're making. Yeah. And arguments is what we got from here. Okay. Yeah, args is type checked, arguments is not. Gotcha. So those are zipped together, so you get these three things out. And then you make sure that the types are the same. Make sure the labels are the same. So there's incorrect arg labels, type mismatches. So there's two different kinds of errors you can have. And then you return a typed expression. It's a function call. The name is the name. The arguments are the arguments. Variable is variable ID. Span. Yeah. Cool. And then for each of these, oh yeah. So whenever you'd push an error, you continue to the outer. This already continues to the outer because it's in outer, but this would continue to outer, continue to outer, and then once you're out of outer. Wait, when do these get called? It returns the first error of the most significant error. Okay, and so you call a label error more significant than a type error, which is more significant than an arg count error. That seems like it makes sense, right? The closer a function matches the arguments, the more important the error is. Okay. Yeah, this seems like it makes sense. And then you have an unreachable here. Cool. That makes sense. Looks good. All right. So the parser, you have. Oh, gotcha. She changed this from, instead of like just a boolean of whether or not you're in a function, changed it to like a. This is a depth, I'm assuming. And then inside function is 0, meaning you're in the global scope. And then. Yep. Cool. When you go into a function, you add 1. When you come out, you subtract 1. That makes sense. Okay, cool. That's cool. And then these are just tests, right? So, see, I kind of want to run these locally, but those look, because I can't even see the source code. I wish I could see the source code. I guess I could see the source code. Check it out. I can see the source code. So wait. Yeah, here we go. So here you're testing. So this is shadowing, right? So you say, show me all this. A is 12, B is 9, C is A plus B. You added another line here that says that you redefine C. C is C plus 3, and then you do C, right? And so what is this? Idents. So what are these idents tests? What's this one? This is functions, not this one. Functions. Functions. Idents, here we go. This is the AST, right? I don't really care much about that. It's more, here we go. So it's defining yeah, so this is the original C, was variable ID 2. So it's really it's defining a new variable with the same name. Okay. And then when it's referenced here, right? Then we're saying C3 becomes that. And then if it were used, it'd be calling C3, I'm assuming. It'd be nice to have a test where we're actually doing something with this. Maybe I'll do that when I pull it down. So that we could see that it was actually referencing C3 down here. But otherwise, it looks like it's working thus so far, and I'm sure it would work. But and then here, the type checker shows the correct ID. Yeah, exactly. Here, right, verbal ID 3. So that kind of shows that it would work, but still, it'd just be nice for the for this test to show it. And then for functions, you say, so you have an add that adds, and then you have an add that is useless, and then with the same name, right? And then you're using both of them. So X is the normal adder, and Y is the useless adder. Cool. So then what does this look like? So I looked at this, and this, and this, and this. I did not look at, well, what is this one? Oh, this is the tokenizer. We don't need that. I trust the tokenizer. Okay, that's where's the I really want, where in the world? Oh, this guy. This is what I wanted. So you're saying here's add, there's two different adds, 2 and 5 is what they got ID'd as. Okay, the one is this guy, which adds two things together. The other one is the useless one that just returns unit, right? And then here in main, we do first the real adder, which is 2, right? Which is the one that add 2. This is a little confusing because add 2 is actually fun 0, right? So this is the add 2. which is adding those two things together, which is correct. The other one, we're adding unit, which is add 5, which is fun2, which is this guy. So it's perfect. It's calling the right functions. That's super cool. Awesome. Yeah, this all looks great. I'll pull it down. Maybe I'll change that test. Otherwise, it looks super fantastic. Thanks so much, man. Let's go here. Merge. Showing. Cool. So let me do that. I should have your changes now. And then if I go test. Yeah, we're good. Okay, cool. So then I just wanted to change the one test. You can also maybe refactor the lookup variable and lookup variable all. Okay. Test source files. Which one was it? It was the, I think you had it in idents, right? Yeah. If I just do something like you know, make x be c. I just want to make sure that this is referring to the right c here. So this is fine. And this one also. So this is good, right? So it's referring to a variable ID 3 instead of 2, which is good. And then this is what I really wanted to check. So saying x, so we have to have two c's. We've got c2 and there's c3, right? And then x becomes c3, perfect, which is the second one. That's great. So that's cool. So if I go over to agenda now, this is probably like this. So that's done. Awesome. That was stellar, says Jappy. Yeah, that was really good. Cool. What's next? Talk about discussion from syntax. Okay, so this is going to be quite the discussion because it took me like 20 minutes just to read through your guys' long chat on there. Okay, so, well, first thing, let me go blow my nose real quick. My bad. Sorry about that. Should be set now. And then I just was saying, yeah, could you guys help me remember what you guys were talking about in there? One of them was array types. One of them was it was so tuple or anonymous struct, oh dear, struct slash tuple like creation instantiation, I don't know what would be the syntax, construction, multi-line comments, yep, multi-line comments, error handling, right? Like that versus that kind of thing was in there too, I think. And then was there anything else? Oh yeah, unary. It was like, it wasn't just the negation, it was like the whole unary slash binary operator conflict issues. Yep. So it's these things, right? So let me turn this into a list. Okay, so we'll try to get through these. All right, where should we start? Where to start? What seems like the most pressing? Probably something like this seems important to me. And this. These are like core language things. This is just something that's not as big of a deal right now. Nor is this or this really. So these are the bigger ones probably. All right, so what we have basically is if I have some lovely and I have a type, maybe we can go over to syntax and steal some code. What's a type I have in here? Like, where's my animal? Don't I have an animal species? No. All right, I'll make my own. If I have type person, right, and then you have like age, which is an int, and you have a name string. If I want to instantiate one of these things, then I say like let me is a person with age of 20 and name of Kaya. Right? So this makes a lot of sense. The problem comes when you have these anonymous ones, right? And at the end of the day, really every struct is anonymous. Well, that doesn't really make any sense. But you're just kind of binding a name to anonymous structs, right? Like I could use this. Sorry, this is wrong. No, yes, correct, Jappy. There'd be $1 right here. So, oh yeah, and Risawe, I don't know how to say your name. Also caught it. Thank you guys. At the end of the day, pretty much everything is anonymous. Lovely nums technically, right? And we're binding names to them. So this is just binding the name person to this thing. Hey, Robin. And then the question comes when, say I want to just make a, like what if I have a function that's like, it's a function that takes, you know, an x, which is a, we'll say that. X is, you know, or say it takes like a point. What if I say like dist from origin, or what's that called? Magnitude. And then we'll say like vec has an x, int y, int, right? We use anonymous structs a lot for storing data with fields and enum variants as well. Totally, yeah, that's exactly right. And then this should return just an int or a float or something, I don't know, an int for now. And then it looks like what? Square root of x squared. Wait, how does this work again? Pythagorean theorem? No, plus y squared, right? Is this right? X squared plus b squared equals c squared. You're trying to solve for c, you take square root of both sides. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I am a math major. So there's that. And then if I want to call this function with some vec, and vec isn't like a predefined type, it's just something in here, right? Then I say magnitude. The question is, how do I instantiate this thing in here, right? And so try to remember the Pythagorean theorem in stream, yep. So then we have like x, say it's like x is 2, y is 3. This was originally kind of our thought. It was like, okay, this will be the syntax. But, or my thought at least. This has some parsing ambiguities, right? Because like basically until you get to this comma, this looks exactly like a block expression. because you could also do magnitude, you know, and have a block expression in here, like, and say x equals 2. If x was something here, you know, 4, and then you have x, you reassign x to 2, then this looks exactly the same. There wouldn't be a comma here, but until that point, like, you'd have to peek way ahead to know that it wasn't. And besides, you could also, if you had just a one field thing, then there wouldn't be a comma, so the comma's not a good thing to go off of. So wasn't 3, 4, 5 like a real one? 3, 4, and then we get 5 out of here. Right? Because you get like 9 plus 16 is 25, square root of 25 is 5. Yeah. Okay. And then x is 4. Basically, this would be really confusing. So we need maybe some better syntax. One option yeah, you guys had some ideas. So what are your guys' ideas? Remind me what your ideas are, because they're like kind of hidden up here in this long thread. Your suggestion, all right, so let's list out the suggestions. Here's option 1 is trying to write them down. Thank you, that'd be great. Prefix all anonymous struct instantiations with question mark. So you're saying like stick a question mark here. And yeah, that seems cool, because like the question mark kind of signifies like, okay, it's anonymous. Like there's no name. Would you have that here? Probably not, right? Just in the instantiation. Another one was question dollar, because then this echoes this, correct? And that's kind of the point of the question dollar. Yeah, the question dollar is just a little bit chunky for me, I feel like. Did you guys talk about just dollar? What about just dollar? Dollar wouldn't work. Why wouldn't dollar work? It does the unary plus binary problem. You mean because we're using dollar here, kind of like in a postfix position? Would that be a problem? Wait, what's some code where this wouldn't work? Oh. Like if I just referenced person here and then did this. Then it wouldn't know that this wasn't this. Yeah, okay, so that's bad. Okay, so question mark potentially works then. And question mark dollar perhaps makes more sense semantically. I feel like dollar would be nice. There's no way to get around this problem. Wait, would this really be a problem? Wait, I don't think this would be a problem, would it? Oh wait, maybe it would be a problem. Yeah, you can solve these issues with blocks. True, but that's annoying. True. Hmm. Okay, well, I'm trying to think when this would actually conflict. The leading question mark was more because of variables, as you said in an earlier comment here. What was the other comment? Like if I had x lorem and then had this here. Oh, yeah, it was like because of this kind of situation. So this is the problem, is this, not that as much. Like this looks like this. Okay. Yeah. Then this looks like a type. Okay. So question mark would maybe be better. You guys also suggested using hash and then getting rid of hash for comments, right? Is that right? Hash to me looks a little bit better than the question mark. What do you guys think? And yeah, I'm using semicolons or something for comments. You could force all of ours to start with a lowercase and all types with an uppercase. That's a good idea too. Do we want to enforce? Would that solve the problem? And then we could use this, because this just wouldn't parse as that, because we know that this has to be a type, and so there's kind of a few options here. So what are our options? It's like use question mark, use $, and force types to be uppercase, and force, yeah, types uppercase, vars lowercase, use hash and switch comments to semicolon. I'm probably more in favor of either 2 or 3 as opposed to 1. Let's do a poll. Are these all of our ideas though? I think these are the main options now. Yeah. Let's do a poll. Poll. Which one? We have use question mark, use $ and force capitalization stuff. Rules. Or use hash and comments become that. Cool, there's your poll. What do you guys think? So the reason I'm like sort of drawn to this is that this just like makes sense with our paradigm that we already have, right, of this. It's exactly the same but without a name, which is exactly what this is, right? It's the same exact thing without a name. So that's why that one, tuples 2? What do you mean tuples 2? The question mark was for similar syntax with tuples, like this. Yeah. The dollar sign wouldn't make as much sense for tuples, right? Whereas the hash maybe would. Yeah, doesn't Gleam do hash squirrelies for tuples? I think that's what they do. Using the same symbols for struct slash tuples would actually be possible. Yeah, totally. The hash has the weird ligature. I kind of like the ligature. Makes it look like one thing. Oh, it is parens? Okay. So maybe then hash, because for tuples you could use the same thing, which kind of makes more sense. Because this does make sense here, but it doesn't really make sense because this isn't like a default variant of anything. It's just a tuple. So maybe hash then, if we consider tuples. Or question. I just feel like hash looks better, doesn't it? Although I do like my hash comments. As opposed to this. Do semicolons look nice for a comment? What about a double semicolon? Probably not. It's hard to see without syntax highlighting. What else is there? I mean, we could just do comments. We could do this. Question mark makes more sense. It does make more sense semantically, you're right. Okay, so maybe this, and then we keep hashes for comments. So we're gonna go with the one option that nobody voted for. Perfect. And that is use question mark. All right, so let's use. It does make a lot of sense semantically to me, like question mark, because like there's no name, right? So what about like anonymous types though with variants? What if I make this thing my magnitude function take okay, what if there are two variants? Like what if I said it takes either a real, sorry, wait, so take this, shoink, real or it takes, oh wait, we don't need commas here, do we? Or it takes a complex, not complex, imaginary, which would be like, you know, A, B, right? So this should be valid too, in theory. Although, it might look nicer if you brought it onto multiple lines. Like this. So then here we'd have to, like, you know, match on vec, etc., right? So yeah, what if I want to call something here? Magnitude, right? Can I just do this? Is this fine? I mean, that could be cool. At is another unary binary thing. Same with dollar. Because we have like type at variant. Are you sure that'd be an issue? Because we only allow this. We only allow the leading at syntax in function calls and match, like pattern matching, right? So would that be an issue? Only certain types of expressions allowed in certain contexts? Well, no, it's not that. Well, okay, no, that doesn't make sense. So, but we only allow it like where it can be inferred, I guess. So it's more than that. But if I had, like, say type was like this, and then I had x, we know x is a type, then it could work here. Right? It could also work if I have a function that takes, like, it could also work here. It could also work in a match t, where t is type, then I could also match here. Like places where you know the type. So what would be a situation where this wouldn't work? Yeah, I'll try to have an example of it breaking in stream chat. Yeah, that'd be great. This is another one where I feel like forcing capitalization rules would also fix it, right? All right, here we go. An example. Yeah, okay. Jappy gave an example that actually makes sense. So basically that this looks exactly like this. With some spacing issues, but otherwise it's good. Okay. Correct. Okay, so this is annoying, but could it would be fixed if we just forced if you want to be a type, then you have to start with a capital letter, right? Should we do that? I feel like that solves several of these issues. That fix it. I feel like we should do that. All right, new rule. What were our options I just deleted? New rule. Types have to start with a capital letter. Variables have to start with a lowercase letter, okay? That fixes a lot of problems. So then this is fine. Joink. This is fine. All this kind of stuff is fine. That also means we could use just for a snake case, yeah. This does mean when you eventually want to use raylib in Lovely, your function will get renamed, but I'm fine with that. Okay. Wait, why would that mean that? What would that? Because isn't that? That also means we could use dollar for anonymous structs. Raylib functions start with capital letters. Oh, okay. So they'd have to be renamed. That's okay though. It does mean we could use dollar here. But yeah, the question mark was for consistency with tuples. You know, like this. I feel like the dollar looks better than a question mark. It makes more sense in this situation. It doesn't really make sense in this situation. So what if yeah, we did have something like that. Like that. We could go with this. And then for the types, you'd say like, this would just be the normal one. And then the other one would be that. How about this? It does look clunky. This does look really clunky. But doesn't the dollar does make more sense here, doesn't it? I feel like it does. And the dollar does make more sense here too if this just becomes an anonymous, or sorry, unnamed fields. It does make more sense with the language. What if we didn't require, do we have to require the equals? What if we did this? Right, and then to parse, like here you have to have an identifier and then an equal. So here we just look. You just have to peek one ahead to see if there's an equals. This seems good, doesn't it? There would be no tuple types, only lovely enums. Exactly. So then tuples are still enums, enforcing our enum philosophy even further. Even arrays are getting enums. No, I'm just kidding. But this is, I feel like this is good. I feel like this makes a lot of sense too. What do you guys think about this? Hear you out? Okay, I'm hearing you out. Change the braces to parentheses for the tuples. Like this. And then that sure looks nice. How would we define the type? What does the type look like? Like this? So then tuples become something entirely different. But maybe that's cool. This does look cleaner. Rust tuple structs. Yeah, it's like this. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys like better? Like having everything be an enum, even tuples, and having stuff like this? Or having like a separate tuple. Yeah, maybe this does seem better. I kind of agree with Jappy. I feel like this is good. The question now is, do we want the dollar though? Because the dollar, I would like for the dollar just to mean, like, only mean one thing, and it's the default variant, right? So we could go to question mark here. We could go to hash. Hash looks the best to me. But then we'd have to change comments to something else. This doesn't really make a ton of, the question mark doesn't make a ton of sense anymore because we're not using it here, I feel like. So it'd be like hash, what other syntax things do we have? All these characters. Wait. I think he's good. Just mashing on my keyboard looking for characters. What's wrong with dollar? It just doesn't make any more sense, right? Like this makes sense because this is the default variant of this thing, but these don't have, tuples don't have variants. It's signifying that you're instantiating a type. It only means that you're instantiating a type with the default variant, right? Is what the dollar sign means. And tuples only really have one variant. That's fair. We could use dollar. Okay, so maybe dollar is good. All right, so we're deciding on this then? So if I wanted to change my magnitude function to take a tuple, it'd look like this, right? And then we do, how do you index into a tuple? Like this? Something like that. Also kind of looks like you're calling the dollar as a function, thus making a default variant for a new type which you're providing the arguments to. Yeah, that does kind of make sense. Okay. I'm cool with this. So let's go with this. Let's add it to syntax. So where do we start? You're talking about user-defined types right here. Okay. Okay, so this is no longer totally true. Every user-defined type is either an enum or a tuple. Also, so types are capitalized and anonymous types are prefixed with dollar and something about leading at. Yeah, that'd be good. This needs to break on before now. Okay. Anonymous. Okay. So then when we're doing that's good. This is good. This is good. It almost makes me want to do this though for that. Without a space so that it matches. What do you guys think? Space or no space? Or like that. Found an inconsistency? What's the inconsistency? What's the inconsistency you found, Jappy? Oh, you guys are chatting in stream chat, aren't you? Okay. Okay, for now it'll be this. Wait, this is bad. Oh no, this is good. Oh no, Jappy did find an inconsistency. Well, let me finish. Well, it's probably no point at this point. This should be. Oh, that makes sense. And then. Would there be dollar here? Probably, right? And then. Okay, so this is all good. So then where does it start talking about this? All anonymous types are prefixed with let's type instantiations, right? Instantiations, because they only have, well, all anonymous type instantiations when there's only one variant. As well. So you can have something like X or this. Put that portion after the first $sign example. This is the first $sign example here, right? So I guess we could put it down lower. Like after the part where we talk about the default value, sure, yeah. Okay, so like here. Okay. That's fine, and then yeah. All right, so now to address this inconsistency. So this is from Jappy. Said this is a problem, right? So this looks basically like the field instantiation. That is indeed problematic. Yeah, what can we do about this? Any thoughts from chat on how to resolve this issue? Suggestion? Oh yeah, I didn't even see that. No fields could be this. Like you have to specify that. That's fair. Yeah, do you guys think this is good? I mean, it's not quite as nice and terse as that, but yeah, William, we're still on the inconsistency, this thing here. So maybe we should do that. All right, let's go with this then. So then over here in syntax, look for where we have one of these. Anywhere else I'm doing that? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Okay. That's good. And then, yeah, what else is on this? So that basically covers this, right? Anything else in here that we didn't go over? Chappie's typing something. When are we removing the unit keyword? We can do that. I'll add that to the agenda. Because now we have this, right? Empty blocks. Okay. You want to do that now? Let's do it. So removing unit. But unit is still a type. It's just not a keyword, right? What do I think about unary minus? That's right next here after unit. So first we're going to do unit. So Lexer, this is no longer a keyword. That's no longer a thing. This is no longer a thing. This is no longer a thing. Well, this is no longer a thing, right? That's no longer a thing. And now go to the checker. Wait, what? These are just some clippy things, right? Okay. And then uh-oh. Clippy's not thrilled about these. Yeah, you can use get. I'll say like is this good? Is that like a take? No let necessary. Wait, what? Yeah, I think the let is necessary, isn't it? To make this error thing. Okay, so I just need to. Why can't I just clone that? You didn't get because you referenced? Yeah. Wait, I thought next gave you an owned. Maybe it doesn't. Into iter. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Sorry, that took a while. So type errors and then our account errors. Type errors. Okie dokie. So there's that. And then all the places we're doing unit. That's no longer a thing. This is no longer a thing. This is no longer a thing. This is no longer a thing. To remove unit, you must also satisfy Clippy. Exactly. Alright, but unit is still a type, so that's cool. And then codegen. I'm trying not to think about codegen. Okay. Get rid of that guy. Coolio. What happens if we run the test right now? Should get some error. Variable not found named unit. Perfect. So then we go to our tests, and everywhere we had a unit, we're going to do this. I guess we really didn't have any units except for that one. Oh, this one too. So now we should just get insta failures. Perfect. No. There's still a unit somewhere. Oh, there is, right here. Now we just get, okay, perfect. So now we do this. And empty block. This is what we should be getting. Empty block, empty block, empty block. Perfect, okay. Very nice. There we go, guys. We removed unit. Notice the IR didn't change. Exactly. I did notice. Very nice. And then, which just kind of proves that it was a useless keyword, right? So, all right, who's next on this thing? Should we do this guy? Yeah, that's next. Okay, we'll do that next after a 2.5 minute bathroom break. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Darkness. Hey, no, bacon. I saw blue. What's going on? Yeah, syntax stuff. Trying to figure out a few things that came up on the server. Some inconsistencies and stuff. So, okay, what were the issues with the operator conflicts? You guys know better than I do. There was some discussion about. Good morning, Kai. Yeah, good morning, bacon. You guys were talking about the unary. Oh, you're writing over here. Okay, so yeah, we have unary minus. Yeah, exactly. But I thought we had decided. Okay, so stuff like x is 1, and then we have negative x. It looks exactly like this. So this is no good. Can I get rid of all this? This is just discussion, right? Twink. Looks just like this, which is no good. But I thought we had decided to instead. The guy had jump scared. Okay, same for this. Okay, so, but I thought we decided for here, are we going to do something like this? Right, and then we don't have that problem. Doesn't that fix that? Obviously doesn't fix the pointer deref. So here's one proposed solution. So here's the problem. Here's solution 1. Any other proposed solutions to this problem? Because this looks like this. Right, another solution would be to always use blocks, I suppose. Okay, thanks, Jappy. You could alternatively just always use blocks, but this is really obnoxious. Quite obnoxious, really. I'm kind of partial to solution 2, personally. Okay. So you're saying, okay, you're suggesting solution 3, oops, would be this. With a tilde thing here? Bacon likes the blocks. Yeah, blocks are great. It's just, it'd be annoying if every time you wanted to... Maybe this is fine. I mean, how often do you actually want to start a line with a negative number? Maybe this isn't as bad as I thought. And then use bang for bitwise not, because you can't do a bang like a logical not on integers. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, that could be good. So these are kind of our 3 solutions. Just use blocks. Frowny face. Have a .neg method on numeric types. Solution 3 is, or we could use a different symbol for not. Truth. Or here we could, how do we say this? Use or negative bang for bitwise not. Yeah, okay. Use some other symbol. All right, let's have a vote. I'm gonna make a poll. Which one? Solution 1, solution 2, or solution 3? We got people voting for solution 3 mostly. Come on, people, there's only 4 votes. 5 votes. Let's get some more in there. If you haven't voted, solution 3 is definitely winning, yes. But there are only 7 votes. So maybe backtick could be not. You mean bitwise not or logical not? Or both? Maybe this is fine. Solution 4. Add a semicolon to the previous line. Oh no, Robin, we've gone so far. You can't try to convince me to add semicolons now. Solution 4. Bring back the semicolons. Oh, like optional semicolons. For the rare cases where you'd want them? That's not a bad idea. Do you know how many of my life griefs that would solve? JavaScript style. We have a JavaScript advocate in chat. Okay. Okay. And this is okay, optional semicolons. And the truth is, when do you ever actually want to do something like this? Okay, I guess if you're returning something at the end of a block. That's pretty rare. This is intriguing. Very intriguing. Alright, should we redo the poll with this is very interesting. Alright, we're gonna redo the poll with Robin's 4th option. New poll. So we have what do we have? Bacon's blocks. Bacon likes the blocks. Bacon's blocks. Kaya likes the .neg. Kaya's methods. We have some person's tilde, and then we have Robin's semicolons. If you're gonna use semicolons, why not just use blocks? Truth, right? Because they literally do the same thing. They like separate the... Yeah, this is a good point. Whoa, people like Robin's semicolons. Nobody likes Kai's methods. What? Kai's methods are so good. Yeah, I'm not sure about the whole semicolon thing. I'm a little bit repelled by the idea. Adding a feature for a feature we already have. Exactly, right? You could just use the blocks. All statements end with a period, like it's English. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Semicolons are actually winning. Despite what William is saying, I'm kind of surprised. I thought better of you guys, chat. So, okay, I feel like, don't you guys agree that this is sort of ridiculous if you already, I mean, it makes sense, the idea is good, but we already have blocks that literally are going to do the exact same thing. So if you're not going to make some special new syntax for it or special new methods for it, then why not just use blocks? It seems to me. So I'm going to use my, lovely's supposed to be clean and minimal, and we already have a feature for it. Exactly. We could have operator overloading like in C++. It's not an operator overloading problem. I don't think, right? It's just a problem that this looks like this, right? I don't know, guys. I feel like this would be the way to go, right? Obviously, or this. I don't know. Methods are speaking to me too, Jappy. I'm so glad you actually get it. Come on, guys. Methods, I think, are the way. I think methods are the way. So I'm gonna overruled as ridiculous because we already have blocks. It's not actually ridiculous. It's just that we already have blocks. Perfect. And then this one I just don't like because then you're using like different symbols and different things depending on the type they're operating on, which is just really confusing to me. Overruled because it's confusing for Kaya. Maybe not you guys. And then, oh no, is it freeze time? It's our daily freeze. Yep, it's our daily freeze. Okay, I'll fix it. 1 second. Doo-doo-doo. Shoink. This one and this one, and then switch this to no, not that one. This one to that one. Okay, and then drag it down to the right size. Shoink. Shoink. Okay, and then do that. Make it grow. Add a video capture device. Okay. Make it my camera. Okay. Drag it down underneath that thing, and then drag that thing over that thing. And then go over here and add a presenter overlay small. Boom. World record time. That was the fastest fix I've ever done. Cool. Can I help? We're stuck in the past. I brought you guys back to the future, the present at least. All right, we have somebody named I Hate You that is suggesting to have new lines be tokens, which is what we did have at one point, new line tokens. But then that just kind of makes things really kind of annoying to deal with, and also annoying to write, because then you have to. I generally don't like white space sensitive languages. Yeah, we want white space no significance. It is more effort to make it work, but it also makes it. I feel like it makes it more annoying to write, but I could be wrong about that. So this is overruled because it's confusing. This one is overruled. I mean, this one's maybe fine. Well, I don't know. This one, okay, these are the contenders for me, but I feel like this one's better. We're gonna go with this. Sorry guys, we're going with my methods. This is a democratic dictatorship. So, I like your input, but at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna go with the methods. Solution 1 is what Gleam does? Oh, okay. Yeah, solution 1 is cool. For now, I think we'll just go with this. Or for now, actually, we're not gonna do anything, but for now, this will be good to have in theory. It is your language, Kaya. Thank you, Bacon. Yeah. No, but I do, seriously, I value you guys' input a lot. I feel like half of the stuff, or more than half of the stuff, has been from you guys. So, all right, that leads us to our second contended operator. I can ruin it however I want. Perfect. That's what I'll do. So the pointer dereferencing and multiplication, right? So say we have a pointer. I'll say x is 8, xp is a pointer. Wait, how do you do this? Pointer to x? No, this is deref. How do you make a pointer? X, like that, right? Is that how we decided? Shoink. Yeah, like that, okay. So then x becomes, xp is like a star int, right? If I want to deref, by the way, this whole thing would have to be in an unsafe block. Unsafe. Okay, here we go again, exactly. Blocks for pointer dereferencing is fine since it's supposed to be rare, but also Rust has .read and .write on pointers. Yeah, we could just have methods on these things too. Like let, sorry, there's no let. 8, so it should be this 8, right? Is, so we were gonna do this. This is kind of annoying. I mean, it works here. We could also just say like .deref. And use pointer .star. Like this. That's not bad. Not too shabby. We could also introduce some new thing like that. That's a little bit weird. Easy chaining among other things, but that also applies to the method solution. True. So then you have that, .foo, you know, or .neg, right? So you have like negative 8 should be this. Your favorite part is when Kaya said it's methoding time and methoded all over the place. Wait, did I say that? Protocol says it's protocol time. All right, I feel like this is fine. Let's go with this. So pointer dereffing is dot star. That looks actually kind of nice to me. I mean, it's maybe a little bit ugly, but it's not terrible. I think it's good. And this should be a rare operation because it's only in unsafe blocks. So this becomes dot star, and this becomes dot star. Coolio. How do you execute codes in NeoVim? Well, there's a built-in terminal in NeoVim if you go like :terminal that you could use to just use like a terminal. Otherwise, I don't really execute code from in NeoVim. Where were we? Agenda. All right. Were there any other conflicts here, or is that it? I think that was it, right? We solved this with .neg and .star. Joppy is thinking. Solved with $prefix. Cool, there's that. So then we have these things to deal with. I actually kind of want to do this one first, and then this one, and then save array types for last, because that's going to be a big discussion. Joppy ran into an infinite loop, yep. Control C, oh good, he's out. Let's talk about error handling. So, what was the question here basically? It's like just whether we do whether we do that or whether we do that. So if I have something like foo is a fun, well this is might error. Well this will be divide. Div takes a top by bottom. By bottom. This returns an int, and it says if bottom equals 0. Sorry, this returns a result of an int or a string, we'll say. If, then we return can't divide by 0, silly. And then here we return top over bottom. And then on here we say x is div 4 by 5. I looked at every symbol on my keyboard and I couldn't really find any other inconsistencies. Perfect. Unless, what about and? Oh. Wait, why? Is this like bitwise and? The single and? Because we could use... I see what you're saying. You know what I kind of like actually in some languages? Is when they actually have an and an or keyword for like if things. Like if, foo, and, bar. Doesn't that look nicer than like this? This? We are Luing, yep. This is very Lua-y. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of nice. What do you guys think? If, foo, and bar? You know what would actually solve a lot of these issues that come from like bitwise operators? If we just had like every bitwise operator start with like something special. Like if we want, this could be a normal and, or maybe not. Like what's another example? Like if we want normal, if you want exponentiation to be like x to the third, but then if we want to do like whatever, this would be XOR, right? Then we can do like dot that or something. I don't know. Maybe not. That probably doesn't make any sense. But the problem is with single and, not with double and. Yeah, exactly. I know. This made me just kind of think of that. We'll save that for a later poll. For a later poll. For now, by the way, it would also include or. Yeah, good idea. Add it up here. It's gonna come next though. Or actually right here. It's gonna say and or versus. Okay. So the question is like, so this could be solved with a method. Like what, you know how we did like dot star for deref? What if we did this for ref? That would solve it, wouldn't it? Any thoughts on that? Vin says, that would work. Yeah, I feel like this is fine. And it makes it consistent. I say we do it. X dot that. We do love methods. Well, this is more of a property than a method, but yeah. And all this is stuff that you're not going to use a whole lot, so that's all right. Anyway, back to error handling. If I say X, oh yeah, I did this down here. Shoink. What do you guys think about this? Do we want to do, like, say we want X to be, you know, not an option, but just a real honest int, and we want it to like propagate up. So this, if this was contained inside of a function that also returned a result where the error types were compatible, right? Then in Rust you can do this. In other languages like Swift, you say try. Yeah, question is not usable, exactly. So the benefit of try is that it looks kind of cool and reads kind of nice, like X is try divide. The benefit of question mark is that it chains easily because then you can do stuff like this, right? What do you guys think? Question or try? So okay, first of all, the simple case. So in a simple case, it looks like this versus this. In a more complicated case, where you want to then do something else, this is where this question mark really shines, because then you have to wrap this in a block, which is kind of annoying. All right. So let's do a poll. I'm kind of leaning towards question mark, but I could try. It does read really nice. Which question mark or try? Do you ever get the problem where you want a question mark out of a function, but you're in a closure, so you can't totally all the time? Exactly. I wonder if we could do something about that. 4 votes for a question mark. Yeah, it looks like question mark's gonna win. All right, let's say we're gonna go with. We can make a solution. How would we make a solution for that? Labeled something, or we can like choose which one we're. This is the same thinking that led to our entire type system. Exactly, like finding problems that we don't like, and then. Yeah, how can we solve for that? Because error handling is such a huge part of any project. Try has marginally more readability, but once you start chaining, it has less readability, in my opinion. This is pretty horrific, as opposed to this. So I think we're going to go with question mark, since it's also being unused. All right, so we're going to go with question mark. Rust new try keyword from some person. Didn't they like deprecate that though or something? Thank you so much, Malek. Oops. It's an unstable feature, okay. And what does it do? What does try do differently from question mark? Wait. Oh. Try makes a, so it's like a try block. Try creates a new scope for this, but like, well, that's intriguing actually. A try block. Yeah, we could do try blocks. But then I'd have to like question the whole thing if I want to like, I'll ignore the optional, right? And then here's a novel idea. We could have a catch block. Just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. That could be compelling. So you're saying try just makes it so you can have a block wherever instead of needing to be in a function that returns a result, right? But this doesn't solve our whole closure problem, right, Jappy? So yeah, I'm not sure about that. But it is kind of a cool idea. I don't know. We could just go with this for now, and then maybe sometime later figure out something. Unless this would lead us to some great discovery, like lovely nums. Like labeled type parameters. And this like errors to fun error. That's kind of weird. That's literally just Odin. Odin does this? Wait, really? Odin labeled type parameters. Look at error handling. Error handling. Where is error handling? All right, well, yeah, we'll just stick to this for now, and then we can always beef it up later. I think this will be fine. All right, can we talk about this for a second? Which of these do you like better? I'm gonna make a poll. Which, so this is that. Oh dear, can I do this? That or that? Meaning C style or Lua style? We have 1 vote, 2 votes for C style. Doesn't this read a little bit nicer? Whoa, everybody. And or has different meanings. What do you mean by that? Different meanings? Wow, everybody really wants these ones. I thought these were so nice. Okay. Well, yeah, we can go to these. Also, you just don't want excess keywords. That's fine. Yeah, that makes sense. We don't really want too many keywords. Okay, we'll do that. So now we have that. That was a landslide win. Cut down on keyword usage, yeah. All right, multi-line comments. Personally, I don't really like multi-line comments. What do you guys think? Do we want them? A, and B, if we do want them, what should they look like? I feel like I never really use them. I'm always happy just to make another thing like this. And it ends up looking kind of nicer too. Joppy also doesn't like multi-line comments. Let's go. I feel like if you... Wait, does Rust have multi-line comments? See, I literally didn't even know that Rust had multi-line comments. So you can tell that I never use them. So this is just like so confusing and messy. If you do like lorem, ipsum, dollar, sit on that, and then you comment this out, doesn't this look nicer than something like and I know you don't need this, so you take this out. Like, which of these looks nicer to you? How can you not like multi-line comments? I know you're gonna say, Joppy, multi-line comments can do one thing single-line comments can't. Are you gonna say like comment out like chunks from inside of a line like this? This is the one advantage of multi-line comments, is you can do stuff like that. But you never, I don't really generally want to do that. It's pretty rare that I want to do something like that. I kind of like it just with a single line. You never need to do that, so you still hate them. Me too. I wouldn't say, I hate would be a strong word for me, but I dislike them. So let's do a poll. Yes or no to multi-line comments. Yeah. The sad thing is that I don't get a vote in my own polls. Listen, people. Oh, man. 8 votes and it's tied 50-50. Okay, 47-53. 56-44. Oh, man, 50-50. Wow, this is a close one. Okay, yes is winning now, but I sort of disagree with the yes people. Can somebody that voted yes explain to me what multi-line comments give you that you can't do with single-line comments? If you could give me a like compelling reason, then I'm interested. But I just don't see it. I don't see the appeal. What if we use whatever William says, what if we use whatever two chars we choose from multi-line to make a tab so the first line is 4 spaces away? What do you mean by that? Oh, just have 4 spaces, like 2 spaces and a hash star. Robin doesn't have multi-line comments in his language. Let's go, Robin. Robin gets it. Does nobody here use Doxygen? What's Doxygen? What in the world is Doxygen? Doxygen. Code documentation automated. This thing? This looks like it was designed in 1990. Um, What's wrong with single line comments for documentation? Exactly. That's my thought too. Isn't that what like Rust does anyway? Like if I go to some Rust thing, like this thing. Look at this. This is in the Rust standard library, source code. Documentation is multiple single line comments. Notice that they're not doing this. They're doing this. So yeah, these are dot comments, right? So they're 3 slashes, but it's the same idea. They're still just single line comments. Okay, William, I like what you're saying there about like the whole space thing. The only thing is I think I want this lovely to have 2 spaces and not 4 spaces for tabs by default. But I might get some hate for that. William, that's also a good argument about like how some people, there's no harm in having them. The only thing is that I just don't want to have things that, like I don't want to go through extra work to add extra things that I don't really like, you know? You guys dislike 2 spaces? Ooh, we'll have to pull on that one. Add it to our agenda. 2 versus 4 spaces. All right. I'm going to rule no for multi-line comments for now, at least, okay? If we decide, like, if some use case comes up for them, I guess, then we can always work them in. It shouldn't be too hard. But, no multi-line comments. But yeah, if somebody can give me a compelling reason why they'd actually really, really need them over, and there's something they can't do with single line comments. I don't know. To me, it just looks nicer to, like, if I want to comment something out, I do this, right? And this just looks nicer. And then I can uncomment out like a small sub part of this like that if I want. And it works because I have single line comments. You know, as opposed to if this whole thing were a block comment, then I can't do that. I have to like go move the end up to here and then make a new one from here down, you know? So that to me makes sense. All right, before we get to array types, let's do 2 versus 4 spaces. I'm going to do a poll. Here we go. How many spaces for indentation? 2, 4. I guess some people like 6 or 8, don't they? I don't, but we'll add options just in case people like them. Tabs? No, we're not doing tabs. Definitely not tabs. Vim does use 8 by default, and it's pretty horrible. No, I'm not going to require anything, William, but like the formatter needs to do something by default. I guess it can be like a setting you turn on and off in like the format rules, but yeah. What's wrong with tabs? Tabs are just weird and confusing. Like you get this character, one character that's wider than all the other characters, and then especially if you use like a like if you're using a monospace font, which everybody does, then it's like really weird to work with, and it's just kind of annoying. Do you want to make the formatter / AST printer, or is a PR fine? Ooh, I'd take a PR for a formatter. Yeah, I'll take a PR for a formatter. Eventually, we need to bundle up everything into like one really nice NeoVim plugin. Can you do one for nice error reporting? Totally. Yeah, those would be great. Are you gonna pull in that one library though? What is it? Rust error. Great. What is this? It's not this one. There's more. Oh yeah, CodeSpan is the one I had heard of. CodeSpan. Yeah, this is nice. Most compelling reason to use tabs is for accessibility purposes. You can set this tab width to 2 spaces, but someone with bad eyesight can set it 4 spaces, and the source code will be the same. Ooh, that does make sense, Robin. Jop, you'll try not to use any external crates. That would be ideal. I'm not 100% opposed to pulling in something like that, but so far we're only using external crates for testing, which I kind of like. So yeah, if you guys want to make PRs, that'd be fantastic. I'd love it. All right, and then, oh yeah, we were talking about how many spaces. So 4 is winning. Yeah, we can have a config for our formatter. That's fine. You know, what we're talking about isn't like, oh dear, my bow just fell off my table. What we're talking about isn't like what we're gonna force the user to do. It's just what should be the default. I guess it doesn't really matter. Maybe we could just leave it up to the formatter config. Who was the one who wanted to do the formatter? It was Rasawi, some person, right? Okay, the reason I like 2 spaces is because if you ever end up making any sort of like declarative UI library, then 2 spaces looks way better. Like, I don't know how much HTML you guys write, but if you go to some project, that has a lot of HTML, hold on, don't look at this. Don't look at this. Okay. Like, where's some component? I don't know. Like, if this had 4 spaces, that's not a very good example. That's not a good example either. This is not a good example either, is it? Okay, what? Like, this is fine. Like, if you had 4 spaces on like these like in nested stuff like this, then it very quickly becomes like very far to the right, and it can get a lot deeper than this too. This one isn't particularly deep, but these just become way bigger. Or the same thing with like Swift UI. Like if I have that's not a very good one. Where's like a deeper? None of these are very deep, are they? Yeah, basically like Swift UI. If you have stuff nested, if I had 4, then everything would just be like, this would be here, this would be here, right? This whole thing would be here. This whole thing would be, right? It just becomes like a really deep thing instead of a little flatter, which I kind of like better, but I don't know. That's my argument for 2, but 4 is nice. 4 is nice too. Technically, you could use 3. Oh yeah, then everybody would be happy. We just use 3. Let's just use. See, but I do use 4 in Rust because that's kind of what they do by default, and it's nice until you get to stuff that looks like this, and then it's annoying, right? Especially since this could have something else in here, like another div, flex, right? And then this would come onto a new line and look like this. And I would wish, oops, I would wish that this was just here and this was just here, but I don't know. How does 3 look? Wait, are you guys serious about 3 spaces? Yeah, if it's just gonna be the default, you pick one. You're like, all right, what should be the default though? That's the problem. I feel like not 3, but I don't know. Maybe we could do 3. What does 3 look like? Let's find some lovely code. In our tests, we have some. Not there, in here. It would look like this. That's 3. That's kind of strange. We could do 3. I mean, it'd be really funny if we did 3. Well, I don't know. It just feels weird. I've just never written anything in with 3 spaces. But I kind of like it. Maybe it's like the perfect width, and everybody's happy. It's strange. You don't like odds. Who decided odd numbers were bad for indentation? I don't know. I don't know who decided. It is unconventional, but this whole language is unconventional. So you do something here. You know, it's not too far over with 4, but it's not too close and hard to read like 2. It's just right in the middle. I think we're onto something. 3 feels like trying to be different. Yeah. I mean, we kind of are trying to be different. Alright, one last poll here. How many spaces by default? 2, 3, or 4? What do you guys think? 3? We got votes for 3? Oh, we got lots of votes for 3. 3 is crushing. Oh, not really actually that bad anymore. A lot of people like 4. But 3 is still winning. It's right in between 2 and 4. The answer has been in front of us this entire time. Exactly. Nobody can decide between 2 and 4, and nobody has thought to try 3. Uh-oh, 4 just came out ahead. Alright, you 4 fans, what's wrong with 3? Or the people who are against 3, what's wrong with 3? You think Dreambird uses 3? Yeah, Dreambird does use 3 spaces. Exactly. Dreambird is the best language ever. Dreambird. Why did it get renamed to the Gulf of Mexico? When it comes to indentation, Gulf of Mexico strikes a happy medium that can be enjoyed by everyone. All indents must be 3 spaces long. Why did it get renamed to the Gulf of Mexico? Negative 3 spaces? We could do that. That'd be cool. So then this would be like that. This would be like that. And this would be like this. That's horrible. Oh, the reason was at the top of the README. What was it? Dreambird has been renamed to the Gulf of Mexico by direct order of President Trump. What? In the world? Ban the import function? Okay. That got too political too fast. All right. So 3? Let's just maybe tentatively go with 3. I think 3 is fine. We can always change it later, and it's always going to be something you can choose in like a config. Solved 3. All right, array types, last thing, and then I'm going to end this stream. So let's talk about array types really quick. Historically, in the past, we had, in theory, 2 array types. So we had slices, and we had arrays. These names were confusing to people, so we're going to change them. So those of you, this is subjective. Array naming is going to be even more subjective. Oh boy. So you guys were saying there's different array types, right? So we need like a nice, dynamic, growable, heap allocated array, which is like Rust's vec. Okay, so this is like 1. We also have continuous or contiguous, I guess, in memory. Fast fixed size array. So this is like Rust's array. And then we also have slices. A pointer to an unknown sized, or it's just like a pointer to an array, right? Like what is a slice? How do you describe a slice? First one is also contiguous. Yes, okay. We'll remove that. Okay, so slices are like a wide pointer, no? Wide pointer, yeah, pointer plus length. Is that right? To somewhere. Rust's slice. Yes, and William was wanting to call these things meadows. Where did meadow come from? You're suggesting meadow for this one? region, meadow. What were you suggesting region should be? So you guys, okay, here's some like name options. Okay, there's like vector, array, list, sequence, series, region. What else is there? Meadow, I guess? I don't quite get meadow. It's not a window. Span, maybe? Anything else? Oh, slice is a thing. It came from the song Ruler of Everything. I made it a meadow because you can place stuff inside of meadows in real life, but you can't expand them if you don't count terraforming. Okay. That's very interesting. So what about like plot? A plot of land, a plot. Basket. No, a basket sounds more like a set, doesn't it? Because like a basket isn't ordered. These things need to imply that they're ordered. Window is like slice, but better. Well, I do like window. It's like a window into something, but you don't really know how far it necessarily goes. Window. Ooh, these are good. Grove, parking lot, vertical garden. Yeah. Butterfly garden. In Spanish, mariposario, I think is what they're called. All right. So, can we all agree that Rust naming this vec was a bad choice? I think most people understand this. Maybe not, though. Poorly named, in my opinion. Yes, that's a bad choice. Okay. And then, all right. So let's make a. Do this. Okay. This one, okay, this one I feel like is too generic. Like it doesn't give enough detail, right? We in agreement about that? List is also kind of too generic, I feel like. Maybe. Okay, series in math implies that things are added together. Not correct mathematically. Is that how you spell that? Sequence makes sense. Except for these things are infinite. Yeah, this, okay, implies infinite length to me. Dimension. All right, meadow sounds really nice. But what it doesn't, like, semantically doesn't make much sense. Sequence due does not imply infinite length. Maybe just because I'm used to math, but sequences in math are infinitely long. So are series. Meadow does bring a smile to your face. And sequences are, in theory, sorted, yes. So other options are like dynamic array, right? People have said this, right? Which makes sense. This would be like this guy down here. A sequence holds elements in a sequential order. Arrays are ordered in some way because they have the indices. The order depends on the array. Truth. Yeah, I could maybe get on board a sequence. Typos. Oh, in your thing? It's okay. So sequence is also cool. I think you said in the chat thing, because sequence also can be shortened to that. A seq. And then, but which one would you want sequence to be? I feel like vec makes sense for this one. So like these are the contenders for 1, 2, and 3. Like which of these makes sense for 1, right? Something like a din array, a seq. For this one, like a vec makes sense, but it's confusing for Rust devs. You seek, it's vec but better. Man, when we make a website for Lovely, it's got to be like filled with funny stuff like that. Din seek, yeah. If you use din seek here, we could use seek here. But maybe not, that'd be confusing. I kind of like window here. But slice is also decent. Okay, who suggested strand? Because that's actually not bad. We could always ask Chippity. Okay, so my language has dynamic arrays, fixed size arrays, and slices, but I need good names for all of those. Give me a whole bunch of ideas for each. They can be fun. Okay, it was Kevin McAllister from the hit movie Home Alone. Yeah, but it's not actually Alright, dynamic arrays. These are horrible. I don't like it when it always gives me 2 words. Those are 2 words each. Just 1 word, please. A grower, elastic, morpher, expando, flexor, dynamo, flow, adapt, stretch, rigid, solid, static, bounded, firm, lock, stable, fixed. These are pretty bad. Except for view. View wasn't bad. Hey Stefan, what's up? We're trying to find good names for our array types that we don't have. I kind of like seek for this one. I kind of like sequence here. I kind of like vec here. And this is probably fine as a slice. What do you guys think about these? Kind of boring, maybe? Yes, another thing. Will arrays be represented with their own syntax? Let's get to that in a second, as soon as we figure out these names. Yeah, what do you guys think? Is this good? All right, let's go in order. Okay, everybody send in chat your favorite option. It can be on this list or not on this list. Your favorite option for number 1, dynamic, growable, heap allocated arrays. Everybody send the name, and that's it. I'm gonna send seek. All right, we got din seek. We got a flex, din array, array list, or just list from Stefan, vec. Oh no, not vec. List. See, list isn't bad either. We could do list. List just does, it does sound like a dinner array. There we go, Jappy. Dinner array is a din array. This could also go on the website. I'm gonna make a new one for the website. For the website. Dinner array. Din array. If we use din array, I mean. What was your other funny thing about try seek? It's vec, but better. That's pretty good too. Okay. We got a lot of votes for list. I do like list. List is good. When did I start making this project? Well, you can see this is day 18, so I'm 18 days into it. Is seek pronounced like seek or sec? Well, I feel like seek because it's a sequence, not a sequence, right? Well, I could be wrong about that. I guess we do say mutt and not mute for, well, at least I say mutt. I don't know what you guys say. List is undoubtedly a linked list to you. Fair enough. Wait, you say mute? Wait, who says let mute x and who says let mutt x? All right, who? List is undoubtedly a linked list to you. Yeah, but I feel like it's fine. I feel like I'm leaning towards list. All right. You do say char instead of car? I do say char too. I say char. Yeah, many languages don't think so. Truth. All right, I'm gonna go with list for now. This one is chosen. How about for 2? So this is like a fast fixed size array, like normal arrays. C arrays, Rust arrays. What should we call these? Vec is Vec would be perfect if it weren't for the fact that Rust and C++ use Vec for this thing. Otherwise, like that's the only confusion point. But functional programming, yeah, and functional programming lists are linked, aren't they? Vec's gonna be confusing. Well, what do we do then? Meadow? All right, everybody in chat, give your suggestion for number 2. Starting now. List is confusing for the same reason Vec is. Fair enough. All right, there's still some debate to be had here. William still wants Meadow. Not a map. No, a map isn't right. A map is something different. Seek. Wait, Jappy, you wanted seek though for 1, didn't you? Wait, so you guys are saying you want seek for here. Oh, it was din seek and seek. See, this could be cool. Now, I personally also do kind of like Meadow. I don't know why, it just sounds nice. It really doesn't make any sense. FSA, fixed size array. So what about, how do you guys feel about din seek and seek? Oh, seek is in nim? Seek, I feel like din seek and seek is pretty good. But this could literally be anything. This could be din array and array. And then it's more normal for people. How do you spell seek? Where's S-E-Q? This is not a combination of letters I type very often. Sorry, this would be seek. Seek is shorter, correct. Michelle, we'll get to that in a second about how to construct them. Rename the last one to seek view. A seek view. Array is a little bit confusing. All right, let's do din seek and seek then if nobody has an objection. What about this? Seek view, slice, window, view. I feel like slice makes sense. I think we should just go with slice. Stefan likes view. View is pretty good too. View or slice. Seek slice. Seek slice. Seek view. Seek slice is fun to say. I feel like one of these would be better than, we don't really need the whole seek thing. Slice or view. Last poll. I don't really care. Which? Slice, view. For a formatter, commas need to be in the AST, right? That is correct. I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're the one that wanted to work on the formatter, right? Yeah, that'd probably be good. Oh dear, we're tied evenly between slice and view. Yeah, it should be easy. Yeah, okay, it's totally 50-50. Slice and view. Which one has more semantic meaning? Slice view, subseek. Oh man, this is too hard. We're spending too much time on this, dude. So how about we just go with view? Oh, a subseek? What about just a sub? Subseek? Subseek is kind of nice. Wait, what do you mean by a subsequence isn't continuous? A subarray is. I do like subseek. I think subseek is good because this really like kind of communicates what it means. Din, seek, and sub. We could do that too. But like din what? Like din could mean anything really. So I feel like din seek is better. All right, let's go with these for now. This will work. We don't really need to decide on all this. We can rename them later. Slices or the equivalent need to be for both dynamic and static arrays. Oh, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 5 is a subsequence, but 1, 2, 3 is a subarray. Is that truth? Maybe that's true. Okay, so maybe subseek isn't right. Man, I don't know. Then what do you want? View? I feel like a subsequence actually works. Isn't what Rasawe just said correct? Like what you're thinking of there is a subset, not a subsequence. I think. Subsequence. ABD is a subsequence of ABCD. Uh-oh. Stefan is correct. Yeah. Okay, so subseek is no good. We need view or slice. Everybody knows what a slice is. View maybe makes sense. All right, let's just go with slice. Slice is good. Slice. We're going with slice, people. Slice it is. Okay. Din seek, seek, and slice. There we go. So now, how do we construct these things? Are there special types? Well, the pull is saying slice. Oh yeah, I didn't even see that. Check that out. If I have something that returns a sequence, do I want to have to say sequence of int, or can I just say this? I feel like this is good. Democracy wins, exactly. If it returns a slice, so here's option A, right? Seek int slice of ints, and then seek int. Oh, the amount is correct. It is fixed size, so this would be like this. No, this one isn't fixed size. This one, wait, didn't seek. Where did I get this? Yeah, no, that's right. Let's get these in order. Shoink. 5. Yeah, my bad. Wrong one. Slice. Okay. So there we go. That would be how it would look if we did them all normally. If we made special syntax, then this could be int 5. That's pretty nice. Slice. What does this look like? Numbers and type syntax. Oh, you mean like numbers up here? This could be int. You're saying int colon? You could also have this. Stefan says, but you don't think that'll be popular. Yeah. You could also have 5 int. That's kind of weird. We do these 3 things. Yeah, how's this? Didn't seek should be it. Yeah, oh true. So then you say didn't seek. Int for these, and these ones will be different. Question mark for slices, like int question mark. That's not bad. Not very bad. Oh yeah, in that case slices could be, well no. Would slices have to be behind a pointer, or are they just the pointer themselves? I thought they were just the pointer themselves, aren't they? Or a Y pointer? I feel like this is good. Let's just go with this for now. Solved. Din seek. Din see. I cannot type this word. Int. Din seek. Oh no, this would be int 5 and int question mark. Because you have the actual array with an unknown size and then the pointer to it. And the rest, the actual array has a type of T, and it's usually behind a pointer. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'm not sure. But that does cover everything, doesn't it? All right, what do you guys think? Since the lexer is a lazy iterator and the parser only uses the span of a token, the size of a token struct is irrelevant, right? The size of the token struct is irrelevant? What do you mean by the question? I'm not sure I understand. I'm going to commit though, so git add. So an extra 8 bytes for an optional comment per token is fine. Oh yeah, that should be fine. Yeah. I think that'd be fine. That's totally fine. Yeah, gotcha. Doesn't matter if it's fat. That should be good, no? I don't see why that would be an issue. What is this? So we removed unit and decided on some syntax. I'm gonna push that to master. Okay. Wait, did that work? Yeah, okay. Well, some of this still needs to go into the syntax.lv file, which is why I still have it here. But should be good. So will you decide for the neg protocol interface? I think we did decide on that, didn't we? We'll have a proto neg that has like a or like negatable. I don't know. Negatable that is a fun that takes self and returns self, and it will do something in here, right? Something like that. So, all right, cool. I think I'll stop the stream there. Yeah. Okay. All right, well, thanks everybody. Feel free to keep talking about this stuff on the Discord. I'll be online the rest of the week pretty much, so I'll be around. Thanks for all the help. How will you implement it for integers? Can't you just check to see if it's less than 0, and if it is... Oh wait, how would you implement it for integers? How do you implement it for integers? I have no idea, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So, anyway, goodbye everybody. Until the next stream.